I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells from a boat nearby. What I saw has stayed with me, and I believe it's important information. I have provided or intend to provide my account to the appropriate investigators because Nolan's family deserves the truth. Out of respect for the ongoing investigation, I won't speculate beyond what I personally observed. While I was on the boat near the area, I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. I saw what appeared to be an argument that escalated after there was a dispute involving Nolan's phone. I heard Nolan yelling for his phone to be returned. The argument continued after the group reached shore, and I observed a physical fight involving Nolan and multiple people. I also observed a young woman telling them to stop. At that point, I left the area because the situation had appeared to be getting worse. I did not remain long enough to witness what happened afterward. Everything beyond what I personally observed.
On July 4th, 18th year, old Nolan Wells traveled to Horn Island, Mississippi, with a group of friends to celebrate the holiday. 2 days later, his body was recovered from the water. His friends returned to the mainland without him, claiming he chose to stay behind after meeting a girl on the island. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office initially suspected an accidental drowning and ruled out foul play. But the Wells family, led by civil rights attorney Ben Crump, has challenged that narrative from the start. They've demanded a transparent investigation, questioning how authorities could dismiss foul play before a full autopsy was even complete. And now, a new witness has come forward. A woman who says she saw something on Horn Island that day that the public has not heard. She claims she witnessed a physical altercation involving Nolan Wells and multiple other individuals. Before we go deeper into what the evidence actually shows, make sure you're subscribed to CrimeNest Media, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the facts. What she describes is not a casual disagreement. She says she was on a nearby boat when she saw an argument escalate on the island. The dispute involved Nolan's phone. She heard him yelling for it to be returned. The argument continued as the group reached shore, and she says she observed a physical fight between Nolan and several people. She told investigators she also saw a young woman telling them to stop. The witness later messaged one of the individuals she saw, telling them she had witnessed the argument and intended to go to the police with the information. She also said she had video footage.
One of the individuals that she saw, hey, I just want to say I was a passenger on another boat and I saw the argument between you guys and we'll go to the police with this information. I also have video footage. My husband doesn't show much, but it shows the argument that was taken and how
Her husband recorded it that showed the argument. The video was time-stamped.
If there is a witness who has a husband with her on the boat and they took a certain amount of video, it could change everything.
She has said she intends to provide her account to the appropriate investigators because, she says, Nolan's family deserves the truth. But there's a problem. The video the witness claims exists has not been released.
Because I want the video. I want to see the timestamp on the video. I want to see, was he still on Horn Island at 4:30 when his acquaintances on the Triton boat left? I want that video. And if she hasn't brought this forward to LE, law enforcement, then it means nothing to me.
She says she has provided it or intends to provide it. But as of now, it has not been made public. And her claims have been met with immediate skepticism, not from the family, but from those who were with Nolan that day. The friends who were on the island with him have denied any altercation took place.
Who famously has interviewed the acquaintances who all say they had nothing to do with it. Let's just put that out there. He's interviewed them extensively. I want to talk about not what you want to talk about, Brandon Tatum, which is they had nothing to do with this because I met them and I believe them. So noted.
They've maintained Nolan stayed behind voluntarily. They've provided GPS data and phone records to support their timeline. Their version of events has been shared widely, and they say the witness is either mistaken or fabricating. But the witness is not the only one who has placed Nolan on the island later than 7:30 p.m. There have been reports of 2 confirmed witnesses who saw Nolan on the island around 6:00 p.m., well after his friends claimed they left. The Triton boat left at 4:30. If Nolan was seen on the island at 6:00, that timeline creates a significant gap. It raises a simple question: what happened in that hour and a half? And if he was involved in a physical fight, as the witness claims, how did he end up dead in the water?
Number 1, he's dead shortly after an alleged altercation with another male. We think over a woman. See, in my world, I put together both circumstantial and direct evidence. Direct evidence
Now,
would be...
consider the autopsy. The second autopsy, commissioned by the family, found no blunt force trauma to Nolan's face or vital
believe that.
areas.
Well, Nancy, she's not saying he lost the fight. She's not saying that he got beat up. If you look at the autopsy, there's no clear signs of blunt force trauma to his face or any of the vital areas that could kill him. So it doesn't appear that there's any indication that he lost a fight, that there was enough trauma in this.
There was redness on the back of his head, but it was described as being underneath the skin. Consistent with blood pooling after death, not with a strike. But one forensic expert on the reference panel pointed out that if there had been a fist fight, you would expect to see injuries on the leading edges.
I would think that if there was contact, particularly if he's fighting a group of people, these sorts of things, you're going to have injuries probably on the leading edges, or what we refer to as the blade of the arm right here on the forearm, the back of the hands, the knuckles, those points of contact. And certainly
the forearms, the back of the hands, the knuckles. The second autopsy involved coronal sectioning of the face, multiple incisions made to examine the tissue beneath the skin. The pathologist found nothing indicative of blunt force trauma. If Nolan was in a fight with multiple people, where are the injuries? It's a question that cuts both ways. No fight means no injuries. But the absence of injuries doesn't prove there was no fight. It just means the fight, if it happened, didn't leave marks that survived 2 days in warm water. The temperature of the water was around 85 to 88 degrees. At that temperature, decomposition accelerates. Muscle sinks, fat floats. Nolan was an athletic young man, muscular. If he drowned, he would have sunk initially, then floated 2 to 3 days later as decomposition produced
He's an
gas.
athletic young man. He's very muscular. Muscles sink in the water, fat floats. And so if he drowned, he was probably going to be on the bottom for a while. And if it was 2 days, that makes sense if he drowned and then washed up very close to where he went in. And so to me, that's a big piece of important
information. His body was recovered very close to where he was last seen. That doesn't prove drowning, but it is consistent with it. One of the experts made a critical point. You can't determine a drowning based on the autopsy alone. There has to be independent evidence. And that independent evidence has not been released. The Jackson County District Attorney, Angel Myers McElrath, has said the grand jury will evaluate the case. She has also made clear that she cannot release information publicly without jeopardizing the integrity of the investigation. She has not confirmed whether this is a criminal investigation or still an accidental drowning. But the mere fact that the case is before a grand jury suggests that at least some evidence has pointed toward a potential crime.
Hearing that somebody who has an inside source is saying the DA's office in Mississippi is now looking at
the grand jury will determine cause and manner of death. They will decide whether a crime occurred, and they will decide whether to return a true bill of indictment against a suspect. The district attorney has said that her office is obligated to present the grand jury with all evidence collected.
This is the elected district attorney. My obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all the evidence collected in the case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation, complete evidence presentation, the actual truth, and an understanding of the law. I'm obligated to do so in keeping with the law and the rules of the court. She goes on to state, I stand firmly on the rule of law and my ethical obligation. That is what the people
That means the witness's testimony, the video she claims exists, the phone records, the GPS data, and the autopsy findings. Both the states and the families will all be considered. So, where does that leave us? A witness says she saw a fight. The friends say there was no fight. The autopsy shows no injuries. The timeline from the friends puts them leaving at 4:30. Other witnesses place Nolan on the island at 6000.
There's 2 reliable witnesses. TMZ reported on this. They said they saw Nolan a little bit before 6 p.m. There is also the young lady.
The grand jury is now weighing all of it. The district attorney says there is nothing more to be shared at this time. The family says Nolan deserves better. The evidence is incomplete, but it is not silent. The witness's account, the lack of injuries, the timeline discrepancy. They all point to one question that has not been answered. What happened to Nolan Wells between 4:30 and 1600 p.m. on July 4th, And if he did not drown, how did his body end up in the water? The grand jury will decide, but the public has been left with fragments. The witness has come forward. The video may or may not exist. The autopsy is complete but unreleased. The district attorney has invoked the rules of professional conduct. And the Congressional Black Caucus has now called for an independent federal review. The NAACP has joined the family's legal team. The pressure is not going away. The questions are not going away. And the truth is still buried somewhere on Horn Island.
Live on Horn Island after 5 or even 6 p.m. If you know or think you know anything regarding that matter, Nolan Wells last seen alive, don't just post it online. Call Jackson County Sheriff's 228-769-3063. Repeat, 228-769-3063.
If you have information about Nolan Wells' final hours, you can contact the Jackson County Sheriff's Office at 228-769-3063. There is a reward of $125,000 for information leading to the truth of what happened. Go to the National Park Service website and read the official MDMR report on the search for Nolan Wells. Look at the boat name, see what it says. Then ask yourself,
and tonight, more rumblings that the wrong boat was searched.
The MDMR report states that the searched vessel was called a tied craft, right? On July 8th. But witnesses show he used a tied line boat on July 4th. In the MDMR report, write down.
If they searched the wrong vessel, what else did they miss? Let us know in the comments. What do you think the grand jury should focus on first? And if you want more deep dives into cases where the evidence doesn't match the official story, like this video, subscribe to CrimeNest Media, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who needs to see it.